Imagine this. You're sitting quietly, your mind drifting off somewhere between a memory of last summer's vacation and a vague thought about dinner plans. To the outside world, you seem still resting, perhaps even idle, but your brain, oh no, it's anything but idle. Beneath that calm facade, a symphony of neural activity is lighting up, as if the brain has just received an all-access backstage pass to your innermost world. This symphony is called the Default Mode Network, or DMN for short. It's a bit of an enigma, really. Discovered somewhat accidentally, the DMN flips the script on what we thought we knew about the brain. It's like finding out that the seemingly quiet librarian at your local library moonlights as a rock star. You see, when we're not focused on a specific task, this network leaps into action. Yes, you heard that right. Your brain is most alive when you think you're doing nothing. But let's backtrack for a moment. This story begins almost a century ago in the 1920s with a German psychiatrist named Hans Berger. He's the guy who gave us the EEG, the machine that records the brain's electrical activity. Now, Berger had this wild idea. What if the human brain was never truly inactive? What if even during moments of rest, it was secretly at work? He recorded brain waves from people who were just sitting there, doing absolutely nothing, or so they thought. And guess what? The brain waves didn't stop. They shifted, morphed, but never went silent. Unfortunately, Berger's groundbreaking discovery didn't make much noise back then. It was like a band releasing an album way ahead of its time. No one quite got it. Fast forward 70 years, and things start getting interesting. A group of researchers at Washington University stumbled upon something peculiar during neuroimaging studies. When people were engrossed in tasks like reading aloud, specific brain regions lit up. But when they weren't actively focusing on anything, a completely different set of brain regions kicked into gear. These regions weren't just a random assortment of neurons. They were old friends in the neuroscience world, areas tied to memory, language, and emotions. Researchers began to wonder, what on earth is this network doing when it's seemingly off-duty? And so the term default mode network was born. Now, calling it a default mode might make it sound like your brain is just coasting, but don't be fooled. This network is the backstage crew, the underappreciated genius pulling the strings while the spotlight shines elsewhere. It's the brain's way of saying, even when you think I'm resting, I'm actually busy weaving the fabric of who you are. Think about it. This network is where your sense of self lives. It's where you reflect on past memories, plan future adventures, and even imagine alternate realities. Ever daydreamed about what you'd say in an award acceptance speech, or rehearsed a tough conversation in your head? That's your DMN working overtime. It's the quiet architect behind the scenes, piecing together the puzzle of your identity. And let's not forget the DMN's role in relationships. Ever tried to guess what someone else is thinking? Maybe you're at a dinner party, and a friend raises an eyebrow at your third slice of cake. You instantly start analyzing. Are they judging me? Are they impressed by my unapologetic love of dessert? This internal back-and-forth ability to predict and interpret someone else's thoughts is powered by the DMN. Without it, we'd be like actors in a play with no script, stumbling around the stage, clueless about how to interact. But here's where things get really fascinating. The DMN doesn't work alone. It's like the lead vocalist in a band, harmonizing with other brain networks to create a masterpiece. One of its key collaborators is the Salience Network, which acts like a mental bodyguard, deciding what deserves your attention. Say you're engrossed in a book, but then a fire alarm blares. The Salience Network snaps into action, pulling you out of the book world and into the real one. It's this push and pull dynamic, the delicate dance between the DMN and other networks, that keeps our mental world balanced. However, when this balance is disrupted, things can go awry. Research shows that an overactive or underactive DMN is linked to various mental health conditions, from depression to schizophrenia. Imagine a DMN that's stuck on repeat, endlessly replaying negative thoughts, or one that struggles to disengage from internal monologues when external focus is needed. It's like a playlist that keeps skipping, or a GPS that's lost its signal. Scientists are still unraveling the mysteries of these disruptions. But one thing is clear: the DMN holds clues to understanding not just our minds, but our mental well-being. And speaking of mind-blowing discoveries, let's talk about magic mushrooms. No, this isn't a detour into a psychedelic trip, it's science. Studies on psilocybin, the active ingredient in these fungi, have revealed something extraordinary. When people take psilocybin, their DMN activity gets scrambled, almost as if the network's usual rules are temporarily thrown out the window. This scrambling isn't just a random mess. It leads to profound shifts in perception, self-awareness, and emotional healing. Some researchers believe this temporary reset of the DMN could explain why psilocybin shows promise in treating conditions like depression. It's like hitting the refresh button on a cluttered mental desktop. So what does all this mean for you and me? Well, the DMN isn't just a scientific curiosity. It's a mirror reflecting our humanity. It's the storyteller that crafts the narrative of our lives, the silent thinker that bridges our past, present, and future. And while we may not consciously tune into its hum, it's always there, reminding us that even in stillness, we are vibrantly, beautifully alive.